For decades, there have been only two routes for businesses to take on their way to application development: buy apps ready made from an external vendor or build and customize them from scratch using skilled developers and coders. But today, we are seeing the rise and growing sophistication of low code, no code development alternatives that bring the power of application development to users across the business. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Analytics Insight podcast, where we discuss about the ever evolving tech space. And I'm your host, Priya Dialani. Now, these alternative app development methods, the low code and no code tools, they leverage an intuitive and graphical interface and give users the power and freedom to quickly build applications and automate business processes without having to write code line by line. Now, of course, the adoption of these tools come with the promise of greater user accessibility, which in turn triggers more innovation and reduces strain on IT departments. Now, to discuss more about how these low-code, no-code platforms are gaining prominent significance and what is the role that they play in the digital transformation era, today we have Dinesh Varadharajan, our Chief Product Officer at Kissflow. Hi, Dinesh. How are you doing?
Doing good, Priya. Thanks for having me here. As you rightly said, the era is slowly changing from custom development to no-code, low-code to AI generation, right? Looking forward for a wonderful conversation as part of this podcast.
Definitely. Myself and my listeners would glad to gain some insights about these upcoming tools and platforms. Before we dive deeper into these aspects, we would like to know more about Kissflow. Very interesting name, I must say. So, if you can help us understand about the company, if there's a particular specialization a company offers, it would be great.
Sure. Kissflow, at least the vision behind the product started way back in 2004, right? So the founding team, we are from a rule engine, workflow engine background, and we realized people who have the problem are far away from solving the problem themselves, right? Because if a business user has a problem, they need to rely on IT because they don't understand systems. They don't know programming languages, right? So they got to work with a different team, translate all the requirements, and the team need to understand and then create a product for them, right? We call this a semantic gap, right? So way back in 2004, we said we need to democratize computing, right? We need to allow the business users to solve the problem themselves without relying on IT, right? That's the vision behind Kissflow. And of course, it went through like a couple of iterations to figure out a very simple way of allowing business users to create application, right? That actually led to the birth of Kissflow in 2013. In last 11 years of Kissflow journey, we acquired like thousands of customers around the world. A lot of big enterprise using the product. In many of the cases, the business users use the product to automate their applications without writing a single line of code, right? That's what the product is. It's a no-code, low-code product, especially with the advent of Gen AI. Right now, we are moving beyond low-code, no-code into what we call as app generation, right? The users can actually go and talk to the system and generate applications that solves their problem.
Great. Thank you so much for giving an insightful overview about Kissflow, and we're glad to hear about the company's growth and specialization in the software development field. Having said that, we would also like to know more about you, Dinesh. So, how has your journey been till date? What exactly is your role and contribution towards at the company? If you could tell us more about yourself, it would be great.
Sure. So I head the product team at Kissflow. We have literally the engineering design, everything is part of a product organization at Kissflow. So in essence, like the product development, design, and the product management team, actually, I am taking care of the whole team here. I'm part of the founding team, trying to solve the same problem over like 20 years now. And luckily with Gen AI, we are in a really good space right now, to at least solve we envisioned like 20 years back, right? Again, we are probably, if you actually go to all the analyst briefings right now, Kissflow is actually touted as the most simplest LCNC platform, no-code, low-code platform to build applications, right? So I am proud to be part of the journey over the last 20 years.
Quite interesting and what a fascinating journey, Dinesh. Thank you for sharing that with us. Moving ahead, I think when we're talking about a low code, no code platforms. Gartner predicted that these platforms, low code, no code platforms, will be used in more than 65% of application developments worldwide by 2024. As we are at the end of 2024, and of course, entering in 2025. So this projection comes with a steep 165% projected growth rate in every 2 years. That's a huge number, I must say.
Mhm.
And when businesses begin to use these tools, the number and sophistication of citizen users swiftly grows as people begin to realize the benefit of fast and accurate app development, almost like in any area or vertical of a respective business organization. So, can you help our listeners understand what are some of the key advantages of low code, no code platforms over the traditional, software development platforms that we have been using till date?
Okay, you'll probably split. Uh, Normally, if you think about any software, right, we normally see it as a product someone need to learn to use, right? And we actually see a set of people who know how to build those products as well, and they are called as programmers, right? And if you look at the even the evolution of programming, if you look at like 1970s or 80s, you used to have very small number of programmers because the languages are quite difficult, right? There are very few people who know how to build applications using C, C++, or even if you go slightly back to assembly languages, right? Because extremely difficult. Someone need to understand how the systems work, right? Without that, they won't be able to even create an application. But if you look at 1990s, they're like a new generation of languages like Java, right? If you actually go to the software, any software organization right now, you can easily see many of the programmers knowing languages like Java and Python because these are extremely simple languages compared to the old generation of languages, right? So if you look at the evolution of the languages, every generation of languages actually simplified the languages themselves, right? You don't have to understand systems very deeply. Rather, you'll be able to write logic using any of these languages and build applications, right? So every generation brought in a lot of abstractions. As a programmer, I don't have to actually understand how the like CPUs work right now, or how the memory is handled right now. I have to just go write code in Python, and then it just magically works, right? And if you look at it, low code is nothing but an abstraction over these languages, right? As I said, every generation of languages brought in a lot of abstraction, which allowed more and more people to use these languages in build systems. Low code, no code is yet another level of abstraction, which allows people who don't even know how to write program to build applications. Right? It's a natural evolution. This is nothing new, right? So with the advent of this, now you have many more people who are not programmers, all right, by profession, building applications to solve their use cases, all right. So as I said, this is a natural evolution, and this is just going to evolve this way, and it's quite natural. People are more inclined towards using these products as well because these products are extremely simple, and they will be able to use these low-code platforms to build applications without actually going through larger training cycles or programming and understanding of programming at a basis.
Great. Thank you for helping us understand how these platforms are significantly different from the traditional softwares that we are currently using. And of course, while organizations are shifting towards these platforms and tools, there are certain number of SMBs that are still restricted to the traditional software development methods. But I guess overall, in the last decade, if I consider, we have seen more of the softwareization of products, services, and even experiences. Because I think organizations have spent decades developing and improving their business models and core capabilities, and have been outcompeted by those that disrupted their own business models with software. Now, it has been famously said that software is eating the world. And in today's highly competitive environment, businesses find it very challenging to fulfill the development and operational demands needed to keep their businesses running, while also continuing to expand and enhance their digital capabilities. So I think that's it. I feel that they're probably right now in a very tricky situation, how they can balance their digital capabilities, but also meet the evolving needs of the customers. Um, I want to understand from you, Dinesh, how do you think that these platforms, low code and no code platforms, help businesses, or do they play an important role in helping businesses accelerate their innovation as well as reduce the time to market?
So innovation is possible only when we iterate faster, right? As you rightly said, if someone want to build an application, if the application building that application takes like 1 year or 2 years, right? Then even more want for me to figure out the ROI out of the application and make changes, it's going to take 1 more year, right? So I can't iterate faster, and especially in the world that is extremely agile right now, I need to continue to change the way I run the business. Otherwise, I'm literally obsolete, right, against the competition. So I need platforms which allows me to continue to improve the way I run the business, right? If I am building a system today, I want to probably make changes every day, right? So that I'm extremely agile in the way I'm running the business, right? And that is not possible with traditional programming paradigm because every change takes time, right? Every change costs a lot of money. And with low code, no code platforms, I'll be able to make those changes in days, if not weeks, right? So I'll be able to continue to iterate, continue to improve the way I run the business. So that actually gives me a lot of time to innovate, right? Compete against the market. So most of the time, if you look at the older ways of running business, it takes significant amount of time and a bigger team to manage the systems. And most of the time, the IT teams inside the organizations spend all the time maintaining systems. They can't even just innovate, right? So because they don't have time, they don't have the bandwidth. And if you have no code, low code, when you actually offload many of these capabilities to the business themselves, the IT teams can actually go ahead and innovate or build new ways of running the business, right? So that's the biggest advantage of no code low code platforms because it's at least gives you the much needed time and space to think about new innovations in the business.
Well, very well said, I must say, Dinesh. And it clearly signifies the significance of low-code, no-code platforms and how probably business can enhance their overall their process of innovating new products and services. Now, of course, I would say that low-code, no-code platforms are probably somewhere one of the significant outcomes or elements of the digital transformation era that we are living today. Now, I believe for any business undergoing a digital transformation, a low-code, no-code approach to development can enable a wider range of people and empower the workforce as well. So, because it builds on innate creativity and entrepreneurship to automate a back office task, which can improve internal operations and even execute ideas with quickly moving them from just mere inception to prototyping, because I think it allows anyone from businesses without any technical experience to become more of a smart software generator. And it I think it kind of takes off the pressure off from the IT teams, and it fosters more innovation and more faster development across all sides of the business. So we would like to know from you if you could, help us understand with some real world use cases or projects at Kissflow, which are built using low code, no code solutions or platforms.
If you look at it, if you take any organization, if you take 100% of the products or applications that are used in an organization, there are around 10 to 20% of that are what we call as the core systems, right? The 10% of the systems literally run the whole organization. These are like engine for the organization, without which the org can't just function. And these systems are there for a very, very long time. The systems like ERPs, CRMs, all these systems are extremely important. And if you take any organization, they'll naturally go and invest in these products. But if you look at 80% of the applications that are used, this 80% literally contributes to more than 90% of the applications that are developed. And there are no ready-made systems in place because every business have their own unique use cases, and they don't have a lot of ready-made applications which can directly buy and solve these 80% of the use cases. And that's where the no-code, low-code normally comes in. It is, if you want me to just talk about innovative use cases, extremely difficult because we're not talking about one or two use cases. We are talking about thousands of applications in any organization. But without these applications, those teams can't function, right? That's the biggest challenge right now. As I said, ERPs and CRMs are super important for business to run. So if you look at the priority, the IT priority goes in managing the ERPs and CRMs. The other 90% of the systems are important for the teams to run. But as the IT is busy managing this 10-20% of the applications, the business need to somehow solve the 80% of the use case that are within their teams, right? And all these use cases are small but important for the teams, right? So what these products enable them to do is it allows those business users to solve all the small but many use cases within the team using the no-code low-code products, right? If I can give an example, if you look at, you know, Swiggy and Zepto, they have a lot of dark stores, right? So they have a place from where, like a warehouse from where they deliver all the items within like 10, 15 minutes, right? So one of the biggest customers in Latin America, when they want to open a dark store, they don't have a ready-made product, but it's super important for the business. So they build the whole application using Kissflow, right? Right from identifying location to managing the warehouse, to actually aligning all the delivery folks for that particular dark store. The whole implementation done using Kissflow, and the IT didn't even touch this application. The business actually built the whole application themselves, right? So if you look at this, this is a very, very unique but important use case for the business. There are like thousands of use cases like this. And if you look at typical customer of Kissflow, they have at least 500 to 600 applications that are running in their account. That's the power of no code loco.
Great. I think it's fascinating, and it's clear that these low-code, no-code platforms are opening a world of possibilities for businesses across different industries. I think it's more about ensuring scalability and robustness in these solutions, and especially as organizations grow and the need becomes more complex. These platforms definitely are a rescue for businesses and organizations alike. Moving ahead, initially, like just before that, I discussed about I think low code, no code play a significant element of digital transformation. I think digital transformation is changing how business gets done, and in some cases, it's creating entirely new classes of businesses as well. Companies are revisiting everything they do, from internal systems to customer interactions, both online and offline. I mean, they're asking important questions like, can we change our processes to enable better decision making, greater efficiencies, or a more personalized customer experience? So I think in a digital age, they're kind of finding innovative ways to leverage technologies and improve their overall business efficiency. So, how do you see the role of digital transformation in the adoption of cutting edge technologies? For example, if you consider low code, no code platform.
Okay. So digital transformation, the most important attribute is time to market, right? As I said, digital transformation is not complete when you solve only 10 to 20% of the use case, which we discussed in the earlier conversation, right? Digital transformation is complete only if you are automating at least 70 to 80% of the use cases in your organization. Most of the time, any organization that is embarking on a digital transformation journey, they naturally go and invest in all the core systems, right? But it doesn't end there, it's just the beginning. Only if you enable every team in your organization to embark on a digital transformation journey, unless you solve the problem all the teams in your organization has, right? Then the digital transformation is not complete, right? But the biggest challenge is ROI. For example, if I want my team to automate all the use cases I have in within my team, my job is running the business, not in building systems, building applications, right? Unless you have a system in place that allows you to quickly develop these applications, this exercise is meaningless, right? Without running business, I will go and build applications, which is not actually my job, right? So for you to actually do a digital transformation, two needs. One, it should probably transform the way every team operates in the organization. Two, they should be able to do it in a way that is like super fast without affecting the day-to-day job of running the business. Only if these two attributes are like solved, right? Digital transformation is not complete in any organization, and that's where the low-code, no-code products come into play as well. Because of the nature of these products, it actually allows the business to build applications quickly and also iterate it faster to based on the continuous understanding they have in running their business as well, right? So this local no code product is a great enabler for any digital transformation journey in an enterprise.
Very well said, and I think that's the true power of digital transformation. It can completely change the landscape, disrupt competition, and even create new businesses and demand, which ultimately adds a more value, greater value to every customer interaction. But on the other side, Dinesh, I feel that while we're adopting these cutting edge technologies, it definitely enables or empowers employees to be more productive and agile. But it also presents significant security risks to an organization. Uh, certain unauthorized and even unnoticed systems can lead to data breaches, compliance issues, and many of the security vulnerabilities that undermine the integrity of a company's IT infrastructure. So I think mitigating the security risks of shadow IT requires a very balanced approach, which understanding and addressing the root causes of its emergence, as well as implementing some strategic measures to manage and secure, the IT resources completely. So, how do you think that businesses can ensure proper governance and avoid the risks of shadow IT while we're adopting these platforms?
If you look at shadow IT, it's there for like the last 20, 30 years easily, right? Right from the days of Lotus Notes. So you can't avoid shadow IT, but what you can do is you'll be able to, at least without no code, low code platforms, you can't even govern what the users are doing, because users will figure out a way to solve their problems, right? Without or with IT knowing how they are solving it, right? The nature of the business, because their problems are super critical for them. And if the IT is not solving, they will solve it themselves, right? That's the shadow IT part of it. But again, without these platforms, it's impossible for ITs to even figure out what the business is doing, because there is nothing like one common system they use. Everyone goes and buys their own systems, and after some point in time, IT need to inherit all the baggage, right? That's the biggest challenge with any IT teams. But if you look at no code low code, they are many of these products, even Kissflow, we have a governance layer in the system, right? The governance layer enables the IT to have a very close uh, control over what the business is doing with the platform, right? If I am connecting to a system that is I'm not supposed to connect to, then as an IT team, I immediately get an alert. If I am actually capturing information that are sensitive as part of the applications that are building, then as part of an IT team, I immediately get an alert, right? So this governance layer actually allows the IT to understand what the business is doing with the platform, without by also giving complete freedom for the business to experiment and build applications, right? So I can't actually build a lot of barriers, right? So that the business won't be able to build anything. So I need to give a lot of independence to the business. At the same time, I need to make sure that it's not affecting the way that I want to run the business, by like making sure the data is safe, by making sure it's connecting to the right systems. All those things as part of IT, I am responsible. So I need to do that without affecting the speed in which the business is building applications. And that's where the governance layers comes in. And if you look at many of these products, we have an inbuilt governance layer, which give control to IT, the same time gives a lot of freedom to the business to build applications.
Right, I think that's a very great perspective, Dinesh. And eventually, I guess proper governance is undoubtedly crucial when adopting these new platforms. But just like a follow-up question, how do you think that businesses can create like a proper governance framework that's both robust and flexible enough with the changing times type of technological adoption? Because I think governance nowadays is playing a very crucial role in terms of how we're protecting and managing our data. So are there any particular steps that you would like to tell our listeners and business owners and how they can create a robust governance framework?
No, they're like governance is there for quite some time, right? If you look at PMI Institute, they have a framework for citizen development. We are a gold partner for PMI as well, right? So we have our own framework and programs for citizen development. So if you go into any organization who want to enable citizen development, we actually work with them, make sure the governance layers are established within the organization, and there are like programs to enable citizen developers, educate citizen developers about what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing as part of the platform. So this is not like give the platform to the business and let them use the way they want them to use, right? It is about making sure that we work with the enterprises, right? Make sure there is a governance team in place, right? And they are if you look at many of these organizations, they actually do it in multiple phases. The first phase, they actually recruit citizen developers, right? Even if they have like thousands of business users, they actually want to pick and choose business users who can actually champion the need for Kissflow within the organization. And they educate the business users. They make them as citizen developers, right? So once they build the initial set of application, then they go out and or propagate the citizen development to pretty much everyone inside the organization. So the citizen development happens in different phases, and there are very definite structures that are in place to make sure the governance is well taken care. The teams are well educated about what they should be doing as part of the platform. So this is not like just give the product and let them use the want them to use. Instead, it's a program the organizations need to implement so that they're extremely successful in this journey.
Yeah, very well said. And eventually, I think there is no question that these technologies are changing businesses and giving them the competitive edge that they need in today's market demands. But like any transformational journey, I think incorporating the citizen user solutions requires a strong commitment to change management, communication, and even breaking down certain silos. One last question for you, Dinesh. How do you see the future of these low code, no code platforms and digital transformation in the coming years?
We are in a very good space right now, especially because of Gen AI, right? Gen AI is transforming even this paradigm. Even now, if you look at Gartner Forrester, they are slowly moving away from no code, low code category to a different category called app generation platforms, right? So right now, even in Kissflow, we have features where the users don't have to even develop anything, right? You have to just come in, give a description. It will ask you a set of questions based on which it will automatically generate the application, right? You don't have to even drag and drop to create a build in a system, right? That's the power of Gen AI. So if you look at like 2 years or 3 years down the line, the low code platforms will get replaced by app generation platforms. So anyone who has a need, they will be able to come in, talk to the system, and generate the application and use it within the team or the organization. Right? That's the future of no code, low code systems, and we are at least halfway into that, right? So right now, the users will be able to talk to the system and build applications. In future, even the end users, they don't even log into Kissflow. They'll be able to actually uh, get the work done through any of the chat systems like Microsoft Teams or Google Chat or WhatsApp without even filling a form or logging into Kissflow, right? That's the future that we are envisioning as well.
Right. I think low code, no code tools are all over the map for the app creators. And apart from entrepreneurs, even the employees or business users have started sensing the need for these tools to stay ahead in the world of digital enterprises. And I think it's a strong driver to gaining immense business value. And these values address a roadmap to help extend people's workspaces, discover more innovative ways to connect, and the things that make your business completely and competitively different and move to a part that is rapidly and that will rapidly help these businesses to capture more customers and probably delight and improve every customer interaction. Well, thank you so much, Dinesh. It was a pleasure having you with us on a podcast today. And I think we have explored some different perspectives and insights around low code, no code platforms and what will be the future like in the coming years. So, thank you for sharing some such insightful information to me and our listeners today.
Thank you, Priya. Thanks for having me as part of your podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dinesh. So, this is for our listeners. Stay tuned for our upcoming podcast, and you can view all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.